Hey, welcome to Listen LowCo. My name is Patrick Malone, owner of Kickstart Local, and we're here with Matt Holmes of 221B Studios, who's behind the, what is that? What do you call that? Production
I'm
desk?
controlling everything today.
Yeah, he's like the
He's the
engineer, like they say on the
was
radio.
it the Oz behind the curtain?
That's
Yeah,
right.
I'm
That's
still behind
switching
the
and mixing and
So we can't not pay attention to him today because he's on camera.
Yeah,
right.
he's a little distracted. So what are we doing here today, Matt?
So today we are interviewing Ian Duncan,
Yep.
owner of The Grind.
So is
Roasters.
this episode 2 or episode 1?
I mean, technically, yeah. Do we need to label episodes?
Yeah.
I mean, this is episode 1 for guests. Matt and I did some introductions and just a little bit about our businesses and the plan for this podcast. But technically, I'd say this is episode 1. And we are filming inside The Grind in Sheridan Park, which is your business.
My space, yeah.
Yeah. So we're here with Ian Duncan. He has 2 locations now.
Yep, 2 locations.
Both in Bluffton, one here in Sheridan Park, and the other in New Riverside.
Yep. And then we have a wholesale business, and we do a bunch of stuff with that.
Very cool. Well, before you get into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I mean, did you grow up in this area, or what brought you to this area?
Yeah,
A little bit about your background story.
So background, I was born and raised in Wichita, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
So way out in the Midwest. My dad was Air Force, so he was stationed at McConnell Air Force Base, and then he got out not very long after he met my mom, and then he went to work for Beach Aircraft and then Raytheon and all that. So I grew up in Wichita, Kansas. I was homeschooled my whole life, and then when I graduated high school, I moved to Chicago. My sister had graduated a few years before me, and she just moved to Chicago to start working. So I followed her there and worked at a landscape company, or took care of some private grounds on a landscape crew for like 2 or 3 years, and then decided I wanted to go to school for horticulture management. And so I ended up looking around for schools, found Spartanburg Tech in Spartanburg.
Okay.
And so I have an aunt that lives in Greenville, so I lived with my aunt, went to school in Spartanburg for 2 years. And then the Greenery, which is a local company, landscape company down here, hired me right out of school. And so that's how I ended up down here.
So you moved down here for a job?
Yeah, I
with
moved down for
Greenery?
work.
So you were what, early 20s at that point?
Yeah, I went to school a little bit later in life, so I graduated. I was 24.
Okay.
And this was an associate's degree in
How long did
management.
you do the landscaping prior to getting into the coffee business?
So I did landscaping for 2.5 years, and then the economy crashed in 2008, and
Yeah.
then I did a bunch of other jobs in that time frame for a couple years, and then I kind of always did landscape management. I would kind of get back into a company, and then I'd let go or whatever would happen. And so at some point I got introduced to the coffee scene.
Okay.
And we really didn't drink coffee before that.
No.
And so I got into the coffee scene, started working for a company as a barista for like 2 or 3 years, and then had the opportunity to start roasting for them.
Okay.
So started with a really small little 2.5 pound roaster, and then eventually moved up to a 10 kilo roaster. And then eventually that company went a different direction for a while. So I, at the time, was working for them part-time and back in the landscape field. So I quit the landscape field and quit that company and started my own thing.
And that time, I'm trying to remember, because I remember meeting you when you guys were over at the garage by Jim and Nick's.
Yep.
And you were sharing that space with Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron Friesen.
And I was doing a little freelancing for him back then. And you had the roasting all going on downstairs. So how long were you in that location? Because that was pretty small before you went over here.
Yeah, we were there for 1.5 years, I believe. And then we got to the point where we were kind of outgrowing the space. Aaron was very much like, you're outgrowing this space. You need to go. So we ended up finding this used to be a bank. And then at the time it was like a bridal shop, and they'd gone out of business. So we were able to secure this place.
It's a cool spot. So I mean, if you haven't come and checked out the Grind in Sheridan Park, definitely do. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your business, what you offer here? Well, actually, both locations.
Yeah. So we're primarily we have 2 coffee shops. The main one I call our flagship store in Sheridan Park is we have typical like coffee drinks that we've handcrafted and that we have kind of created. We have all the original stuff you'd find pretty much anywhere. And then I think the big thing we have to offer here is like workspace. So this store is just, we have all kinds of little cubbies and work areas, and throughout the day there's just people here having meetings, people working, people studying.
Yes.
I mean,
his
office is here.
Before moving here, I used to bring or work here, and then I'd have client meetings here.
Yeah.
And I remember my office used to be the CBD shop,
Yep.
I think it was.
Yep.
And just the timing of how that opened, and then Matt and I moving over here is just like perfect synergy.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect timing. We weren't actually even looking, but a lot of business owners come in here, a lot of people, students.
Oh, yeah.
It's busy all
day.
day.
To Matt and his wife. They were here like late, and I just happened to say, oh, yeah, by the way, we're like looking for, if you know anybody. And he was,
I know it's
Leah, actually, your wife was like, wait, I got to tell Matt.
Yeah, no, so I mean, I used to love come working here before we rented, and I remember we walked in, we were having like my wife and I were kind of getting together, let's talk strategy about the business kind of thing, and I just remember walking in and being like, man, it'd be so fun. Like, I love working here. Where I was kind of quiet. There just wasn't a lot of energy. Yeah. And I was like, we were renting, and it'd be so cool to like be able to work here full time or open up a studio is what I thought when I saw that CBD place. But
yeah, we were over by the post office. Him and I shared we had enough room for a desk, and we both sat at the desk. And then we had a back room that was a little like, it was snug. It was a lot smaller than that. So we were like, oh, we could do a little studio in there. And it was just like, it didn't work. And
we had one camera, and
that
was about it. If you crammed 2 people like at a desk, it was like, but yeah.
So like coming here, it's like, and like you said, like so many business owners meet. I mean, honestly, I've already gotten a few jobs just from our office being located here.
Nice.
So like, it's great to come and work and have meetings. What other, like, how about, you have your coffee and drinks. What about food options?
So right now for food options, we're kind of limited. We're always looking for like new outlets, but we've got breakfast sandwiches and stuff like that. And then starting next month, we are kicking off a new program called the Afternoon Reset. So the Afternoon Reset will be from like noon to 3. And typically when people want to go get lunch. And so we are going to be introducing some, probably not this week, but next week we'll be introducing some lunch options, some lunch drinks, so people will be able to come through and basically get like almost like a combo of like a lunch sandwich, chips, and a drink for $12 or something. And so just some quick grab and go stuff. So it's not like a sit down meal and stuff like that, but it'll be something where they can,
come hang out.
You don't have to leave to get a food.
Yeah.
You can just come in and get your stuff.
And that'll be at both locations?
Yep, both locations. So, and then hours will be changing here soon a little bit. So we're going to be open later on Saturdays, and then same closing time right now. I think we close at 5 at both locations. So that'll stay the same until like the summertime. But then the Saturday hours are going to shift. So right now we're 8 to 2:30 on Saturdays. We're going to change that to 8 to 4. So.
And you all used to do some type of game nights and different things throughout the week. Are you going to be having
we're looking at that. We're just seeing the public interest. So we had it going for a while last year, and then public interest just kind of went away. So we're like,
we can help with marketing.
Yeah. So, look at that and kind of get that back up and going. Big thing too is like, got to have staff that want to work it.
That was a quick question. So like from a business perspective, so what year did you move?
So we opened this place in 2019.
2019, and prior to that, you were roasting over in that garage
Yeah. So,
but you moved down here. What did you say? 2008ish.
Yeah, I moved down here in 2008, and then I started the business in 2016.
So question, because I didn't move down here. I moved from Philly in 2015. What has what have you noticed as far as growth in the area changing from when you first moved down here in 2008 until now? Because I hear that a lot.
Actually,
Like it's hard
I
to
moved
find good like employees, and like what's that like transition been like?
So yeah, it's just, it's some of it, and some people will, who have businesses and are hiring people, there's less and less kids who are taught a good work ethic. So the quality of people you get, is just less and less. So we typically, when we find a good candidate, we try and hold on to them.
Yeah.
Can't always, but a lot of times what we found is we've hired a good person, and then we kind of work with them, and then they end up, having someone that they like or they know is a good worker, and they bring them over.
Okay.
So there's a lot of that goes on. I think the big thing here from when I moved here, this place was growing, but Bluffton had a population of like 6,000 when I moved here. So there was no promenade.
6,000, really?
That's way less than I thought.
Jeez.
Yeah, so like downtown, I mean, there was no promenade. I think the bank was down there, but there was no promenade. It was just all woods. All of downtown was woods.
And that was 2008.
2000, yeah, I moved down here. I technically got here December of 2005, but
Okay.
So yeah, there was all the gas stations closed at like 11 p.m.
That's weird how everything, even like,
So
I feel like even now, a lot of places you try to go out for like dessert or coffee at like after 8.
yeah.
I mean, at least a couple years ago, it's like you can't find.
Oh yeah,
everything's closed down.
Everything's closed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like where Home Depot is, it was just Home Depot. There was no like Best Buy. That didn't exist when I first moved down here.
Is that cheesesteak place still there?
Yeah.
Dominic's?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was trying to think. Like, I remember watching Lowe's be built. Target was here, but that was it. There was nothing. So it was just all these wood spots. And like I remember the drama was that when Best Buy was built, there was like a shooting, like one of the workers shot the GC of the project on site in the building or whatever. But and then a couple years after the Best Buy opened, they had a pretty big break-in, and dudes went through the roof.
What?
And stole
Like
a bunch of
Mission
TVs.
Impossible.
Yeah, stole a bunch of TVs, and they didn't catch them on anything. So.
Wow.
But yeah, there was a lot of growth going on, but there was there weren't a lot of people like living here. Now, like Hilton Head was Hilton Head, but Bluffton was like nothing.
Okay.
That's wild, because I mean, we moved here in like 2013, and I mean, we've seen a ton of growth just since then. But it's stuff like Best Buy and Target. I mean, all that stuff was here by 2013. So just that's what is it, 8 year period?
Yeah.
So huge amount of growth too.
Yeah. So like Walmart and Sam's, those didn't exist.
I think I was here when they started building those. And I was like, yay, because we didn't have to go to the island. We go on the island to go to like Walmart and Sam's, and then it was like, oh, we have one in Bluffton, but we have like one. It's like you got one.
You got the way out there. But
yeah. It's how is that affected like this growth? Because the last couple, I mean, they just are building everywhere. How has that, like, you built the new location, like that one's brand new in Riverside, right?
Riverside.
I often wonder, like, rents and stuff, like, is it difficult like to run a business with the way construction's going right now and with the cost of rent?
Yes, I would say that the problem here, and it's kind of always been a problem, is that a lot of the developers that are coming here are from like Jacksonville, Greenville, Charlotte, even Charleston to a certain extent. They're coming here. The problem is they're coming from places that have like millions,
Lots of people,
or upper hundreds of thousands of people in like the city area and the broader area. Whereas here, I think Beaufort County is at 60,000 residents,
something like that. I know.
So
it's what, like 35,000 or so.
And so you're like, okay, guys, like, and so they're charging the same rents that they would get there.
Yeah.
But the problem is that we don't have, and then the way this area is set up, we don't have like this really super concentration of people.
Right.
Like we do in a sense, but they're in neighborhoods. Whereas you go to Charlotte or Charleston, there's like
like a downtown type area.
Well, there's that. There's just like I call it now when you're coming into Charleston, they're building like apartments, like it's going out of style.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's starting to happen here, which helps because it gets like more people in a compact area. The problem is you have more traffic.
Oh my gosh! It took me like 45 minutes to get here this morning because May River Road was just completely blocked
Oh,
with traffic. So it's getting, I'm like, I moved down here to get away from all the traffic, but they just keep building so much. And it's like more people, more traffic. But that's a good point with the rents, because I'm like, I was looking at space and some of them are like $45 a square foot. And I didn't understand how businesses afford it when we don't have the population of these larger cities.
They don't.
So that's like these builders are kind of setting that price based on.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, comparable to here,
Right.
and so we're going to do that. And then we're like, well, and so that's where you kind of see a lot of like businesses either not going in or they're in, and then there's a big turnover.
I've seen, unfortunately, a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
Retail, restaurants. And I'm like, it has to be the rent, because like it's just so high.
Yeah.
And we don't have that much people to
we don't have
support those numbers.
Yeah. And so I think it's going to be, and I think it's going to get, if they try to raise it too much more, it's going to get, they're just going to be sitting on property.
You think there'll be a correction at some point?
There has to be a correction at some point, because here it's here per the volume of people. They go off of like, oh, the medium household income. I'm like, that's cool, but those people don't necessarily, one, live here full time,
right?
And two, they're not. Again, we have to have you can have a lot of wealthy people in your area, but they don't necessarily shop local, and you have to have like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, you got to have a lot of
those
people.
Yeah. Like Charleston has that. They have a lot of people in a lot of places,
a lot of money.
Yeah. And so you just have to have that younger population that's buying a lot. So the problem here is we're probably like 50-50, so or 40-50 or 40-60, excuse me, where it's 40% is like the young family growth coming in. The other 60% is retired. Well, retired is like they don't have as much disposable income, so they're not.
Yeah.
And they're more like, they are habitual, so they'll get into a route. So we have,
I do see a lot, come in here.
Same customers coming in every day at a certain time, and that's like their schedule. So they're like, doing whatever
routine.
They're having get 2 coffees, they'll sit down with their wife, have a pastry, and then they go.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just going to ask about the rents and stuff.
Oh, so yeah, but rents I think are way overpriced, and some of it comes from like. And it's not even rent necessarily, so our rent here isn't that much. But then it's the taxes and insurance, and you have the county or the towns raising taxes on businesses because they need more revenue for whatever. And then we're like, well, cool, but at some point, we have to raise prices to cover that. And if we raise our prices too much, people won't come because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
So it's just this really fine line of trying to make money. And keep the business going,
and pay all your employees,
and pay all my employees, and all that
and find
stuff.
good workers,
and then also enjoy it after. So it's like, like, hey, it's great to have a business, but
they don't see all the behind the scenes and the stress and all the other stuff, all the headaches that you have to deal with.
Yeah. So
and then as far as like seasonal with tourism, like Hilton Head's very big. Like they do majority of their business in the summertime. Does that play into like Bluffton businesses at all? Do you see like any like
there's a little bit of
based
decline
on the time of the year? Like I don't know if we get a lot of tourists. Do we?
We do now a lot more than we used to. I think the big thing now with how Bluffton has grown is that there's more places for people to stay in Bluffton versus Hilton Head. So whereas Hilton Head could max out in the summertime, people could still find a place in Bluffton and they're just driving to Hilton Head. But I think the cool thing about Bluffton is that as it's grown, we're getting more hotels and stuff like that. But it's kind of marketed as a central point too. So you can come to Bluffton, you can go to Hilton Head for a couple days, you can jump down to Savannah for a couple days, you can go to Charleston, and you're only like 30 minutes to an hour and a half from either of those places.
Beaufort's cool.
I
tell people that we're kind of like in the middle. It is a good central location. To hit all those different cities. I mean, Savannah's awesome.
Yeah, Savannah's awesome. Charleston's fun, and it's like hey guys, if you want to go to these places, you can stay in one central place, and then you can get to all these places. You can go to Jacksonville; it's 2 hours away. So I think that's been helpful. And so what we see here is wintertime we don't really drop off. It's more local. In the summertime, we just get that added bump of tourist traffic that is either going to Hilton Head, coming from Hilton Head, because we're at least this location, we're right off the main drag. The other location is just more getting locals around. It's kind of a local hangout, but it does get some tourists coming in from
I
Savannah.
was curious how many people would like make the trip over from Savannah to visit Bluffton, or if they're on Hilton Head vacation, do they come and spend a day in Bluffton and check out Old Town and that kind of stuff?
I think there is, especially Thursdays, because there's the farmers market down
Yeah.
there. So there's a lot of people that come in from Savannah, or they'll come over to check out things like that. We do business in Savannah, so we talk to people over there.
Is it part of your like distribution?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So you have the 2 locations. Do you do farmers markets and then like supply, different businesses or restaurants in the Bluffton, Hilton Head, Savannah area?
Yeah. So we initially started just as a wholesale company. That's all I did.
Okay.
And then we eventually moved in this space.
I remember you used to have the roasting
roasters
stuff
and
right
everything.
there.
Yeah. So we used to, everything was here, and then we would, we kind of started the coffee shop here because we had this extra space. And so, and then we eventually moved our roastery as its own facility.
Okay.
Not very far from here, but we would, we have probably between Savannah, Beaufort, Bluffton, Hilton Head, we're probably 65 to 70 clients of various sizes.
nice.
So anything from restaurants up to, we do whole resorts like Palma de Dunes Resort, stuff like that. And then we do have hotels.
Okay.
We have like 3 hotels in Savannah, a couple restaurants on River Street, and then we've got 3 hotels on Hilton Head and a bunch of restaurants and offices, and then stuff in Bluffton, a little bit in Beaufort, and then I think our farthest out normal customer is in Dalton, Georgia. So
Okay.
What's the revenue split on the wholesale versus the shop itself?
So it's used to be like 80-20, where the wholesale was about 80% of the revenue and retail was 20, but now it's probably more like 50-50. So for the coffee shop versus the wholesale. So
I mean, from where you started and then have 2 locations plus all the wholesaling, it seems like you've had a lot of growth over the last
had a lot of growth.
couple years.
Yeah, had a lot of growth. And then once we kind of got to a point, now I still want to grow, but we want to like do it slowly so that like
A little bit more control.
Yeah. So
Yeah. What are some of the challenges you faced as you have been, dealing with the growth? More people you got to hire?
more people, there's more coordination with that. When we added the second retail location, there's a whole new staff, whole different dynamic of that store versus this store, from look to
Just like
customer base that
personality
comes
behind
in
the whole
there,
thing.
all
Yeah.
that stuff. So yeah, we do get a lot of people still coming out there for meetings, but then there's a lot more like moms with kids that
Okay.
come out
Yeah.
there. Whereas here is like, there might be a kid that comes in here on a Saturday, but for the most part, it's like older kids,
Or
like
retired people.
retired people,
Business
families,
owners.
business,
A lot of
owners,
business
a
owners.
lot of
You're telling
business
us we
owners.
picked the right location to
Yeah.
open.
Yeah, I like the feel. Yeah, so it has that vibe. The coffee, like it just feels like
Yeah, and this location, if you ever get a chance to walk around, it's based like a house. So there's like the formal living room or dining room is the glass table. There's like the front rooms we call the formal living room. So it's like, if people go in a house and there's this living room that you're like, they never sit in, but there's all this nice stuff in there. Yeah. And then there's like the less loungy. That's like that's like your normal. And then we've got like a reading nook and
that's
all that stuff outside your office. And
it's funny, because I get people they're always peeking in the door. Like it's good. I like it. I like the energy and all the people that come in and out. It's way better than where we were before, where we were just like up in this dark office that nobody knew we were up there. I think I've noticed. Have you seen this shift? As you mentioned, like not as many kids here versus like the other location, and that this area is a lot of like retirees, but I feel like it's transitioning to a lot of younger families. Do you feel the same way? Like, is it?
Yeah, I
Do you
think
think it's shifting a little bit?
Yeah, it's shifting a little bit. I mean, we've obviously got Sun City and all those places, but
they're not going
past there. There's, I think, 10,000 homes set to be built, or 20,000 homes in the next 10 years.
Are those going to be over 55, or are they just
no,
like
it's all
family?
Families,
Okay.
families. So
And that's going all the way out towards like Savannah,
95.
Hardyville. Yeah,
Yeah.
95.
Yeah.
Where they're going to put the Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of all the traffic that's going to be.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of traffic.
It's
So
it's going to
It's
be
gonna get
nice.
worse. It's
Like
gonna get
I
worse.
can't if I go and leave my neighborhood like 4:00, 4:30 to try to get out to Savannah.
yeah.
Like the Pritchardville traffic circle all the way down past Palmetto Bluff is just like lines of traffic. Like I can't go anywhere.
So you live too far out. You gotta move into my neighborhood, Bluffton Park, and then
Oh, I like Bluffton Park, and I was like, I need to move further out, like Hardyville or
Estill.
Ridgeland, maybe. No, but what's been a challenge for you as far as growth, and just like how do you plan for that transition of like more and more younger people and families coming into the area? Does that affect the way you make decisions, or?
Yeah, so we definitely have like a map that has a radius of like what each store like will impact, how many people we can draw in from certain areas. And then there's some, obviously you want to have another store close enough to have some overlap, so that we kind of get customers. So one of the reasons we wanted to be in the New Riverside area was that a lot of the customers that come to this location live over there, but they work over here part of the week, and so then you kind of capture them twice. And so
that's smart.
Whereas they would be like, oh, well, there's nowhere to go where we live, but we work from home a couple days a week, so you put a store over there, and then you have people who are like coming to one store 3 days a week, and they're going to the other store a couple days a week.
That's so true. And it's weird. It's like people say, like, people on the island don't come to Bluffton, and people in Bluffton don't go on the island. But I also feel like it's almost like that. People towards that side of Bluffton,
they don't
want to,
come
like,
down.
I live, down in May River Preserves. I'm like down towards the circle. I'm like, I'd rather just stay down. I wish there was more stuff. Like, there's starting to be more stuff. You have the coffee shop. There's pizza plate. Like, they're putting restaurants there. I wish we had better options, but like, I'd much rather stay on that side of Bluffton than come over.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not like it's that far of a drive, but.
Well, I think it's what has always been here is traffic. So we know what traffic has been like here. And then, especially when you have off season, you can get to like Hilton Head in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think now when I think about, so I'm like, oh, should I go? I need to go to like this place. Maybe it's off 170. And then I have to look at the time and be like, well, if I leave now, I'm going to be like, I'll get there okay. But then traffic coming home will take me like 2 hours. And I don't have that. So I'm just going to do this at this time, or I'm going to.
I try to do as much as I can online. I just don't. I came from Philly traffic, which was terrible.
Yeah.
But I think I got used to, like, when I first moved here, and it was like, oh, I didn't run into traffic much at all.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I think I told you it took me 45 minutes to get here this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. And half the times, if you like are just trying to get off into traffic, like.
Yeah. And I don't understand. They always do the road work here. Like, road work up north, they do it at nighttime. All right, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, no one's on the road. Let's do the road work. Here they're like, it's 8 a.m.
Let's
start
shut down
the roads, and then we'll start at 5 o'clock when everyone's leaving. Let's just start shutting down the roads and doing our road work at 5 p.m.
Well, and here it's there's a lot more, like, at least they've created other like avenues to get places. But it used to be, I mean, I moved here, the Buckwalter Parkway didn't exist.
Okay.
So there was no like, you could travel on 46 till you hit downtown Bluffton, and you could come to 278. But there was no, like, it just, like, there was no
other
circle.
cut-throughs to get there.
Yeah, so you just had to drive. You could either go, like, straight down, so you 278, and you could drive to 46, where 46 existed. But and there was the neighborhoods off of those roads, but there were, like, Simmonsville and stuff like that. But, like, there was no parkway, so it was just woods. So you're just driving straight over. And then when they put the parkway in, it for a long time, so the Cross Island, like, bridge coming off Hilton Head, there was none of that, so it just dead ended at like Malphus Road. But it was nice because you could like come off 278, take a left on Malphus, and then you could be on, like, basically it was like the locals highway,
Right.
And so for many years, I would say 3 or 4 years after they opened the parkway, it was a locals only kind of. It was just people. It was just like no one was on that except for people who like lived on neighborhoods, and you like, oh, I don't have to get on 278 to get to Target. I get to Target behind, and then I can get to all these places from behind there, come out. I don't have to get on 278. And now it's like,
well, now they connected it to Savannah, so like, oh, everyone's coming from Savannah.
Yeah, they just get
to
off.
Savannah.
Yeah,
and then I know for a while there were like big tractor trailers, and I thought they had put something in place where it wasn't supposed to be any of those like commercial trucks and stuff.
Yeah, they can't come downtown Bluffton, so yeah, they can't. But so they have to turn off. I think it's at Simmonsville Road, unless they're delivering downtown, obviously. But yeah, for a long time there was a lot of commercial stuff, and so they.
What about like community stuff? I know you said you do the farmers markets and things like that. Are you involved in any other types of community events or things like that in the area?
Not right now. We do have a mobile cart, and so we do the farmers market with that, and then we do a lot of like private events.
I was going to ask, you
so
do like
a lot of
private events or catering, that kind of
stuff like that. So we've got a bunch coming up. Last 2 weekends in a row we had stuff. Nothing this week.
Cool.
And
horse trailer, right?
Yeah. Have that horse trailer, and then we're working on getting a second one.
Nice.
Which hopefully will be finalized later this week. So
they can book you for events.
Yeah, book us for events, food festivals, stuff like that. Private caterings.
What's your experience been with the festivals here? For like, I have mixed, like as a business owner.
Yeah.
Mayfest, the seafood festival, like draw a ton of people. And I've heard from retail people where it's like slow, but then I hear from the food vendor, food and beverage, that they usually do pretty well. Are those usually good events for?
Yeah. So for us, especially because we're coffee related, so like Mayfest last year was a little bit of a snafu because it rained.
Yeah, I heard that.
An hour in, or a couple hours in, it rained, and they shut it down, and then it didn't rain for like the rest of the day, and there was a big uproar about that.
I think Matt, wasn't your wife impacted by the rain?
Yep.
Yeah, so all these people planned and paid. And that's a lot of
now for
work.
me. I was open. We were open. I think the festival started at 10 a.m. It rained at like 10:30 or something. I was open at 7 a.m. So we made all of our money to at least cover all of our expenses and the cost of the festival before 10 a.m.
Okay.
So then once that hit, I made a little bit of money. Obviously, you want more,
right?
So. I wasn't walking away, but there was definitely, I knew many vendors who lost their shirt, and they were just, it's kind of devastated. Then arts and seafood, we do, that one's 2 days. And we do pretty good at that one too, but that was like the food side got just crushed.
I feel like that's part of me. I'm like, are people here to shop, or are they here to do like,
it just depends.
Food and drinks, walk around and hang out?
Can tell you, I think she's done some stuff where nothing, and then I think arts and seafood last year she crushed it.
She did well.
Yeah. I mean, she's an artist, right? So sometimes we have good years at those festivals, sometimes we don't. The biggest advantage we've had from those just the connection she's made, because she's, she'll have people come by and see her work and like it. They won't buy a painting, but then they'll hire her for a commission to do something custom for their home in Palmetto Bluff or something like that. So that's been the biggest advantage.
Yeah,
I guess
sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. It does seem kind of like a little bit of
hit
a
or miss.
shoot. Yeah, and I don't know why that is.
I don't know if it is though for the food people. That's what is weird to me, because it's an art festival.
It's an art festival, but half the people are. Well, it's it's like when they do the arts and seafood. There's really actually little to no seafood.
Yeah, I know. I wonder the same thing.
Like vendors that have seafood.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
They all have fried shrimp and that's
fried shrimp or whatever. But I think it's a lot of it. It's like, with anything, half the people are coming just to kind of walk around, and they're not necessarily going to buy anything there, but they're hungry, so they're like, oh, I can get food here, and there's a bigger variety of food here. Then they're like, I don't have to, They understand that most of the restaurants that are down there, brick and mortars, are going to be packed out.
Yeah.
So regardless of that, there's food trucks everywhere, and so I think you get a bigger variety of food. It's like going through a food mall.
Yeah. I wish we had a food truck park here or something.
Yeah.
Where you can go and just get a bunch of different varieties of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have. I feel like Bluffton in general is a little bit behind. Maybe
you just need to buy a lot, man, and there's some stuff behind Target.
I would prefer to be down by my neighborhood. I don't want to drive across town. What would be, if you had to give advice to maybe an existing business or maybe even just people planning or starting a business in this area with it being so unique? Do you have any advice or anything that you've learned over the years that you could share that might help people?
I would say before you start a business here or really anywhere, definitely talk to other business owners. Ask them as many questions as possible. Ask them about all the taxes they have to pay, things like that. I think that was my biggest naivety of like knowing I had to pay like sales tax and a couple others, and then there just being kind of all these extra things.
They're like tons of. I remember because I was doing the barbecue stuff, but they're like, you need a business license in like every little town that you do. So like Oakity, Hilton Head, Bluffton, Beaufort. I'm like, how many business licenses do I need?
Well, so like we only have for Bluffton because we don't. Now, if we were regularly going and setting up our mobile cart in a space in Beaufort or wherever, but most of the time when we're going, it's for an event or like private catering. So we're not, we don't
need it for that.
We don't need it for that. And so we're just kind of setting up for that event. We're getting paid by that event, kind of separate. It's private usually. But I always tell people and then find someone who's owned a business or can mentor you and kind of walk you through everything. A lot of times I have a lot of people who are like, we're going to start this, we're going to do that, or we're going to do a coffee shop. We want to do a coffee shop. And so I say, well, all right, before you do that, I charge whatever, but you can sit down with me and I'll walk you through like what it actually takes to run a coffee shop versus what you think it takes.
So you do some consulting?
Yeah. So do a little bit of consulting and mentoring and just, if we come in and we're going to, obviously, if it's a new restaurant and we're selling them coffee, we're going to come in and, kind of help them with their coffee and tea program a little bit and train them in that. But I think the big thing is like, hey, it's not just serving coffee and lattes and all that stuff. You have all these other expenses, all your operating costs, all your material costs. And I think that adds up a lot faster than people think. And so it's a lot of it too is like, especially when we walk into places and they're like, well, what are you going to charge for coffee? And they're like, oh, like $2 a coffee. And we're like,
have you worked your numbers backwards yet?
Yeah. And well, and what we tell people is like, you never, like for coffee, you never want to be cheaper than the gas station.
Oh,
never heard that. Coffee. So like if Parker's is $2.99 for a 12 ounce, you don't want to be selling your coffee for $2 because coffee shop or coffee at a gas station is considered, even if it's not, there's some gas stations that have good coffee, but it's still considered like that's cheap coffee.
Yeah.
And so if you're selling it for less, people are automatically in their brain going to be like,
it's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. If the coffee's $2, it's probably $2 coffee.
It's McDonald's coffee.
Yeah, it's McDonald's coffee. So, so I always tell people like, $4 seems like a lot for a cup of coffee, but also the cost of coffee has gone up, and that's
still probably cheaper than Starbucks and some of these franchises.
Yeah.
But then you get it locally brewed and roasted
and brewed and stuff like that. So yeah, but there's just a lot of different things, and so you have to really like. Also tell people, I'm like, if you really want your business to work, you got to be ready to like not take a paycheck for a while. Bit. So I didn't take a paycheck for like 5 years.
How do you plan for how do you plan for like living expenses during like if you're not taking a paycheck?
Wife that like makes good money.
So everyone needs to marry like a sugar mama.
Yeah. So sugar mama who can go make the money and then, and
that's
from there.
That's the ideal situation.
Yeah, almost all the guys I know that started their companies. So like Philip, who owns Perk Coffee in Savannah, he literally started it, didn't take a paycheck for a couple of years. His wife is like a doctor.
Oh,
so he literally like she's making all the money and he's like trying to roast people coffee. So
good,
great business. So yeah. So he's gotten bigger now, and he's in Savannah, and then he's in some places in Atlanta.
That's a scary thing to get into.
Yeah,
knowing that you might not make profit for a couple of years.
Yeah. So it's just kind of, and I think if I had gone in with just doing wholesale and I was never going to do anything beyond that, I would probably just be me and maybe one other person, and I'd just be in like a warehouse. I wouldn't
Yeah.
really, I could still grow, but I wouldn't be growing
Right.
at the same rate. Whereas what I found, especially in the coffee world, is you can be a wholesale only, and there's guys that do that and they make good money. But for this area, because it's so sparsely populated for the area, so like for the broader like
Right.
square mileage
Yeah.
area, there's 60,000 people, not that many. Whereas you take that same square mileage in Charleston or wherever else, there's a couple 100,000. So because of that, when I did my model, we realized that we needed to do a coffee shop, and the coffee shops were like marketing agents for the wholesale, and vice versa. The wholesale could market that we have coffee shops, so that when we wanted to sell coffee to someone, like I think it's tomorrow or next Monday, I have like some new clients coming in, and they'll do a coffee tasting at our coffee shop.
Okay.
So they get a feel for the coffee shop. There's people bustling around. They're not just coming to a warehouse
Yeah.
that has coffee operations going on in it, but the
environment can
lot
sell.
less sexy.
It does a little bit of the selling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was going to ask about that. This is surely that the shop is marketing for the wholesale, like it
Yeah,
it's
so
wholesale.
people that
It's-
come in and like buy coffee, and they might
Especially
do
with all the
business
business owners that come
Yeah.
in here, it's like, oh, can you supply
Yeah.
our
Yeah,
company with
yeah.
coffee?
Well, that was our logic, Patrick, behind renting here, right?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
like, and having the space is just, it's natural marketing. I don't know if I should categorize
people
this
are
as a
coming
marketing
in the
expense
door.
I was just going to ask,
rent-
now that we're on marketing, what is your thoughts
Yeah.
on? Because
Well,
here's one of my, as a marketing agency owner, one of the biggest things I see a lot of business owners do is they think, whether it's retail, online, whatever, like we're just going to open and people are going to find us.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, they're just going to find them. What is your approach and thoughts on marketing? Do you do anything specific, social media?
So we'll be having me with you down the road.
okay.
But we, for a long time, early
You do the festivals, the farmers markets. That's
festivals,
what we do a lot of, like,
and
in outreach
Instagram and
marketing.
Facebook
Yeah.
stuff is a lot of how we've done stuff. Now, early on, we were advertising in magazines and in
It's a lot.
newspapers and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and I found like that didn't really work.
And it's hard to track.
Yeah, it's
I
like
can't get it. I don't know if it's
impossible
still, I mean, it's expensive, hard to track. Once it's out there,
yeah.
you can't change it. So you
Yeah.
got to go, like, it might run a month or two and then you have to, like, okay, did it work or not?
And we would do coupons in there, and then we'd have like 2 coupons come in. They're like, "Oh, we distribute to 30,000 people," and you're like, "Wow,
30,000.
got two coupons out of 30,000 people."
0.002%
Yeah.
conversion rate.
Yeah, so you're like, "Oh, that's not working." So, but we've really found a lot of, it's like the new brand of marketing is, in some senses, website, but it's also Instagram, Facebook, doing targeted ads. We did that for a long time, especially during COVID. I would be like, doing ads, and we were.
Did you do any of that when you opened the new location? Like,
Yeah, we did.
I think you got. Yeah, I think it's important.
So we get to the point where we were like running ads on both, and so people would start commenting when they came in. They're like, "Man, we were like hit this area, and we geofence stuff.
Yeah.
Hit this area, and all of a sudden they're just getting constantly, as they're on their Facebook feeds or wherever, they're
Yep.
just getting all these grind.
Which
So
is
it's like,
That's what
you
people.
know.
I don't think people understand the power of a simple social media. I was in Atlanta this past weekend. As soon as I hit Atlanta area, I was on my phone, and it was like ramen shops, coffee shops, just showing up with ads because I'm in their targeted area at that
Yeah.
point. So, I think any business starting out, you need to have some type of marketing plan. Like you can't just rely on opening the doors and hope people find you. At least
Yeah.
that's my process. You also mentioned like networking. Are you in any kind of networking groups? I know, like, for me, when I started out, I was in BNI. Matt's in the Chamber of Commerce and BNI.
Yep.
Did you do any of those things when you were first starting?
Yeah, so when I was first starting, it was after we moved into this location, I joined BNI. So BNI was really helpful because BNI helped me talk about my business, tell people what I actually wanted, made me think about what I actually wanted, and it helped me talk in front of people.
That's
So now I have no
funny.
problem talking in
I
front of
hate that
people
part.
and things like that.
If you
So
go
it's-
back, Patrick, you'll get used to it. I'm telling you.
I know. I think I got kicked out, and I'll probably just stay. I might consider joining the Chamber of Commerce, but I mean, it was good. It did help me. Like, I was in for 2 years. I say I got kicked out because I had unexcused absences.
Yeah.
So I just felt like I'm not a child. Like if I
Yeah,
would
and that was my problem for a while. I got too busy, and so I eventually got out. Now I will be getting back in because we're looking at hosting a current chapter at our new Riverside, starting I think next week. So,
but I mean, it's a great opportunity. Honestly, I tell the story that before I was doing marketing, I was doing e-com, so I didn't have clients. And during COVID, same thing, that died. And so my backup plan was, well, I'll just do marketing for local businesses.
Yeah.
And I got invited by Jeff Main at Pay Proudly. So I had a name, but I didn't have a website. I didn't have business. I had nothing. I just had like my knowledge and skills. And I'm like, joined BNI, and I'm building websites for people that I don't even have one yet. Mm-hmm. So like, I think for any business owner, it's probably a great place to start, or maybe the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, Chamber's good. I would say also Rotary in Bluffton is good. There's a lot of business owners. They're the ones that actually do all the work for the Mayfest and stuff like that, the organization that helps. And so that they've got like, I think 90 or 100 members. They meet once a week in Bluffton, and they're very active. And so I was doing BNI, and then when I got out of BNI, I joined Rotary, and that introduced me to just a large amount of people in Bluffton. They're also business owners or just leaders in the community.
Yeah.
And so from those two things, and then I did a lot of like after hours chamber meetings, just getting in front of people, handing out my cards so that like, I think I did one of those. I think those are like once a month. So I was doing like a lot of networking, and I think that is really the key to like getting your business going is network. Having
a small area too. Yeah, networking. Like I know just because the area is small, like someone who knows another business owner. It's very small community. So you do have to be careful about your reputation and branding and all that because it is such a small area.
Yep.
So we do get a lot of referrals. I'm sure you get a lot of referrals. Have you thought about, Matt and I talked about this. I don't know if we're going to put you on the spot about hosting something here, maybe like some type of networking thing.
Yeah. I mean, we do. There's a holistic chamber that meets here once a month.
I saw the the Hilton Head Chamber was here a couple weeks ago.
I think they have meetings here.
Yeah.
For leadership, but so
I mean, we could start our own small networking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Media professionals,
whatever you guys want to do. Yeah.
Restaurateurs.
Especially if it's evening time. So during the morning, it's hard. We have to like.
Oh yeah. No.
There's so many people coming in and out, but like usually in the afternoon, it's quieter and stuff like that. So.
And you mentioned a little bit ago the mentoring. Excuse me. Is that through any official capacity through any of the networks you're involved in, or is it just something that you do personally?
It's something I do personally. I'll offer it through the business for someone who wants to start their own coffee shop and stuff like that, or a roasting company or whatever. And then, but I also there's a organization called SCORE.
Yeah, I've heard of
this
that.
In the area. So I had a mentor with that. And I had because my background had been already in management at sort of like a intense level in a sense, with the greenery, that I already kind of had some of the budgeting and stuff like that down. And I'd already managed people,
right?
Multiple people. And I already had kind of worked in an organization where I had a boss, but I was a boss of people who were bosses for other people. So there was that general knowledge. So if you've never managed people before, you definitely want to like go and like observe that. We've had people come in who've started coffee shops, but we've had them come in and work a couple
like
shifts.
Managers?
No, just even working or coming and standing behind the bar in our office and just watching the flow and be like, it gets crazy, it gets hectic. This is the systems you got to have in place. And we've, I've come so far in like going from a general employee manual that we have a pretty thick one now because we've had to come up with rules and policies on anything you can think of. And every time something happens that there's nothing written down about it, you're like, all right, we got to update it. And
employee handbook.
Yeah, employee handbook. And then SOPs, standard operating procedures. What happens if someone comes in and robs the place? What happens if someone has a heart attack? Like, what do you do? What do you follow? What happens if someone gets hurt, like employee or customer? Like, And so there's like, we had to create all those things as we grew because though we'll never hopefully become a corporate company, I still want to be very like,
you have the systems.
like we have the systems. I mean, there's corporate stuff that is good to follow because it will save your ass. And then also another thing I learned is get a good lawyer.
Yeah.
Lawyers are expensive, but if you get a good one, it's worth it because, there's just so many things that can happen.
Probably especially newer business owners don't think about, until they've been in the grind.
Yeah.
Then they figure out, oh crap, I should have had a lawyer, work on some.
Or you don't want to, you'd much rather have a lawyer who knows you and your business so that when something comes up, they're already familiar than they're trying to find one as something is going on. And then there's going to be some urgency involved and stuff like that. So,
well, before we wrap up, is there anything about your business or anything specific you want to mention that listeners should know about the grind in your 2 locations? Or
I think just look forward to starting in April our new afternoon reset kind of program that'll be coming out. I think we're excited about that. And then if you're just in the area and you're looking for like really good coffee, you're looking for an environment that is quiet and or if you guys want to meet someone or whatever, like come check us out. We also have a drive-through at this location, which is great.
Unique.
Yeah, so we're one of the few privately owned coffee shops with a drive-through. So I think that's also works in our favor and makes this kind of a cool place. So we have a lot of people that in a hurry to go to work.
Yeah,
just come cruise through the drive-through, grab your favorite drink and whatever.
Grab a drink, host your business meetings here. Yeah. So what's the best way for people, listeners, to find you online, like website, social?
Yeah, so on the website, www.thegrindroasters.com. You can order online on there, or we're on Facebook under The Grind Roasters, and Instagram, I think, is the same, Grind Roasters. It's a little yellow icon. And that's the best way. That's where a lot of stuff gets posted. We try to keep up with it. So that's the whole new other thing is like
social media managing.
Yeah. We've had managers. Some have been good, some have been bad. We're now like back to having a staff person do it who's, she was a manager here. She got pregnant. She had to take a step back. And so, but still needed some hours. And so part of that was, hey, take a, and she's one of the ones that's like complained about the social media not being up to par for what she wanted as a manager.
Right.
So like, well,
then here, handle it.
Here you go.
It's all yours. Make
and
whatever
then
you
she's
want.
Got a little bit of an eye opener into like how much time it takes.
One tip I like to point out, because a lot of people, they do the content, or they'll have one of their employees do the content, but then they don't do like any promoting of the content.
Yeah.
So like, if you're not, I'm not sure, but I would always recommend, like, I would tell my clients, like, maybe focus on the quality, less quantity, but make sure you're spending a little bit of money, like, reaching people.
Yeah.
It's very inexpensive to run a social media ad and reach all of Bluffton and Hilton Head, like, $3-5 a day. It's kind of like, I tell people, like, what's the point of the content if no one sees it? Yeah. Same thing with your website. What's the point of the website if no one sees it? So, I'm sure you'll be posting some teasers about the new lunch menu coming out.
Coming up, we have our manager meeting tomorrow, which will finalize everything, and then
I'm looking forward to that. So, maybe we can throw some barbecue or something.
We have some empanadas here. Empanadas, how do I pronounce those things?
I don't know. Are they empanadas or
empanadas? Yeah.
Oh, empanadas. Is that something different? I like empanadas.
Yeah. So,
Matt, anything before we wrap this up that you want to?
From the man behind the curtain.
I was going to ask.
Man behind the curtain.
What's?
Tell us real quick about your
symbol on your shirt.
So I just know I got it for. Gosh, I can't remember. My wife just got it for me, and I was never good in chemistry, so.
But someone told you it's coffee.
Yeah, it's the coffee.
What if it's not? What if it's maybe it's like meth or something?
It probably is meth. Yeah. Cocaine. So it's like coffee. So coffee, cocaine.
Same thing.
So
close.
It is a funny business to be in. So like in the coffee world, I am technically caffeine is a highly addictive drug.
Yep.
So I am I import it, I process it, and I sell.
You're a drug dealer.
Something. Yeah, I'm a drug dealer. I'm a legal drug dealer.
All right.
That doesn't have to go through the FDA or anything.
What other illegal drugs do you sell out of here?
Well, whatever the dogs can't sell anything because the coffee masks.
Well, there used to be the CBD. That was all.
Yeah.
But no, it's been great having you on. I appreciate you telling us all about your story. I think it's been exciting to see. I mean, just from the time I've been here, the growth, and maybe we'll have you on after you roll out the new menu and stuff.
Yeah. We'd love that. We'll bring some food in here and we can eat it. You know,
I would. Yeah, I would like. I'd be a part of
noise and like.
I'll be a food critic. And give you some feedback.
There you go. Like, this isn't as good as my brisket. This isn't as good. And I'm like, well, you know what? You're not making anything right now. So.
Maybe we could talk about it.
Yeah. So,
Matt, you're good?
Yep, I'm good. Thanks,
right.
Ian.
Well,
Appreciate
that's it. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. This is a good episode.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to close it out with something. Matt, you do the outro since I did the intro.
Yeah, I do the outro. That's such a boring set back here. All right, hang on. All right. Yep. Thanks, Ian. Appreciate it. And to our viewers, stay tuned for the next episode. We'll be back.
See
y'all
he's
later.
better at this than that.
Yeah.
He's good at scripting and doing that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, my brain's all over. What time is it?